I would love if
Actually,
there was just one. Go ahead.
One last thing I'll ask real quick, and considering that you are pretty much the top tier Night of 100 Frights player here, Hype, what is your stance on Scooby Snack collection in this run?
Okay, it's funny that you say that, because I actually was about to go into detail about that. So, first off, what here is, this is the Monster Gallery, where we can be able to see all the stuff that we unlocked. This picture viewer here, this is basically, aside from Snack Gate completion, your pretty much reward for collecting all the Scooby Snacks in an area. You get to see bits of concept art, like, for example, the sketching of an area that actually you'll get to see a little later in the game. However, you try to hit next, and you have to get more snacks in an area in order to get it.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I mean...
They drive a hard snack bargain.
Well,
and these here, these are... Yeah, this is what you want to do for the monster tokens. Anytime you collect one, you come here, and you can be able to see the in-game model of said monster, and you get some trivia here. Like, for example, you hear on the side here is the name of the episode that they appear in, as well as like a very brief synopsis. And also comes with a little bit of trivia.
Something tells me that they allowed you to get that particular monster token early, like back in the training area.
Oh,
because
yeah,
they probably scrapped that guy.
Oh, no, you can see the gargoyle later.
Oh, he looks doofy. But it looks like they have quite the peanut gallery of mooks for us to see.
I think they more or less covered. I think they covered most, if not every single villain from the original "Where Are You" run.
From the 40s, from the 40s, or whatever it's called.
From the
60s.
from 69 and 70.
I say 40s. Alright, anyway, we can go.
Also, very convenient of them to put a warp gate straight at the end of it, because that is a very long hallway.
Yeah. What's funny is that like when I was doing my practice earlier, like even James didn't know that existed.
Yeah, I kind of just got impatient and went the other way before I even reached the end to notice.
We got our key!
Yep.
Made my poor paws rough by the end of that venture.
I don't appreciate the rock puns.
So I got a question for y'all. Since this is a game about a dog, who here owns a dog?
I own 3. 4.
I
was about to say, 3, because I own 2 of them, and the other one is my grandma's.
We had 2 of them, but one unfortunately had to be let go because of old age, so we only have the one.
Aw, I'm sorry.
Logan?
What about you, Logan?
I have a small dog. It's a mix between a Lhasa Lapsa and a poodle. Particularly, the poodle thing is particularly important because we do not want to deal with dog. Oh, lordy Lou.
Yeah. Oh, jeez, it's the werewolves.
It has to be. We were very particular about the poodle because.
Oh boy.
Is there any point to defeating that person or even like talking?
Oh, that witch. I was about to say. Actually, let me look real quick because I know they'll have enemies like scattered about just for enemy's sake. I think she's just there guarding that health pickup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
even then, it takes her an eternity to charge up that magic spell.
The poodle thing is the most important because we don't like dealing with dog fur and poodles have hair.
Ah, okay.
Whoop.
Almost thought he was about to jump into the pit.
That would be funny, all things considered.
Wasn't that Jeepers Creep or whatever his name was?
No, that's the zombie.
The creeper we'll meet up with later, and let's just say that something I have noticed with what little time I have playing this game, depending on how late you find the monsters, is also determines how much of a threat they are. Like,
really?
The zombies in general are pretty much your traditional runts of the whole litter.
Okay.
And there's also, like, a thing that you'll notice. It's a bit inconsistent because it's only a thing with certain enemies. Some of them will just be kind of, like, walking around, like the Wolfman here. And there are some of them that kind of have, like, a detection system where, like, if they spot you, they actually will actively start chasing you. And you can actually be able to, like, like, make them lose sight of whatnot. Like the zombie here. Like, when you see that question mark appear, that's them being all like, I think I hear you.
One thing you can do in the meantime is that if you want to, get them off your back for a little bit, you can technically charge into them and stun them for a bit. It won't automatically kill them, though, but we will find something that will do the job later.
Until then, we have another means of it thanks to Don Knotts here. 2 inventions, the slippers and the lampshade. The slippers basically make it so that you can be able to tiptoe past enemies without alerting them, and the lampshade somehow confuses them into thinking you're not there.
Ha, okay.
We'll say real quick, don't get used to this power-up because honestly, it is borderline useless.
Yeah, because there's a zombie that would be in here, but since I'm sneaking past, he won't break out of his urn.
And say if you do stop in your tracks while doing that, then you put the lampshade on.
But even regardless, just you can't fight them. Just run.
Or just run right in, or just ram right into them and stun them and then run away.
Yeah, because I was gonna say otherwise. Like, I don't think there's any real like. Are we ever gonna? Yeah. There's no stealth. I don't think we're ever gonna meet a mook that's too fast for us to just outrun. We're Scooby-Doo. That's our main, that's our IO.
Well, there are some mooks that are definitely a bit more, beefier than the others, which those are the ones that you see late game. But for the most part, there's really no need for a stealth element. I think they just add just for the sake of a laugh.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like one of those things that they would just instantly put a laugh track there just because it does look silly. And that being said, though, it might prove somewhat helpful against the Scarecrows, because these guys are kind of obnoxious.
Look at him do the old "some call me Johnny" strut.
No, the son Scooby-Doo. Yeah, son Scarecrow did wrong.
The Shaggy did wrong. Come on, over here.
Again, all he just needs is the wild hands.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been helpful if he actually had hands.
So right there, did you oh, it's a dead end. So did you need to run up that thing? Otherwise, you would not be able to climb up the slope, or.
Oh no, this you can be able to go up just fine. I was mainly going there just to show off that, like, there are gonna be, like, some sections of an area where it's, like, they kind of act like shortcuts to each other, but sometimes they'll act like shortcuts to each other, but sometimes you have to open them from the other side of each gate.
Ah, okay.
Don't think Scooby missed you.
Oh, you told you snacky little thing, you.
What's funny is that, like, I'm acting, like, really, like, particular with getting these snacks. I should probably get this out of the way right now. I'm not gonna make Scooby Snack getting, or I'm gonna try to not make Scooby Snack getting, like, a massive priority, because, like I said, aside from just getting some of the gates open, they just get concept art, so that's something I'm not gonna get on my way to go for. I am gonna try to see if I can get all the monster tokens, though.
That's fair. That's more or less answers the question I asked a little while back, if you were going to go for an all Scooby Snack run or just stick with what you absolutely need.
Yeah. If I'm able to, I'll try to get as many as I can, but I'm going to try my best not to stress it too hard.
So what do we find on Edge in the Hedge?
Well, we can't go through here because it's covered in bramble and thorns, but Shaggy's going to give us a lift.
Shaggy!
Oh, gosh!
This music always gets me every time I hear it. It's so fucking campy.
Scooby, you gotta get off of me. Scooby, get off my shoulder. Get off my shoulder. You weigh 70 pounds, Scooby.
I can't. I'm scared.
But to me, it's the music matched with Shaggy driving this thing manically. Like, can you believe I never got my license?
He did get his license, though.
He did?
I mean, he did. I mean, back when, they had all those other Scooby-related spin-offs where it was just him, Scooby, sometimes Daphne. He was the designated driver. Which is saying something considering it's Shaggy.
And yes, Hype, I lost many a Scooby snack to this part too because of limited jumping.
Yeah. But like I said, I'm gonna try my best not to dwell too much on not being able to get the snacks.
Don't worry, Scoob. All my years practicing up for that multiverses competition is gonna be put to good use.
What's multiverses?
Anyway, the reason why I asked about... oh, wow. That lampshade.
Why not?
Well, be careful. You're missing out all the Scooby snacks.
Well, again, he's not aiming for those. But anyway.
Right.
I'm gonna stop you from... Oh.
Yeah, he just wants a hug. How could you deny a Scarecrow a hug?
By the way, just as a heads up, if you do get to a point where you sometimes linger a little behind, Shaggy actually will stop to give you a chance to catch up.
Oh, good.
Which is honestly pretty nice of them, considering the fact that he did outright say that whole tractor has a mind of its own.
Hey, jeez. Otherwise, not like that.
Well prepared, Reiki.
I'm not going to be able to use it any other time, so...
Yeah,
have some
again,
fun.
very borderline useless.
Don't run me. Thank you. I wonder how much fun they have recording for this game. Do we have enough to get inside?
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah, we do.
Literally double more than enough.
Then
like
onwards.
I said, but yeah, it's like I said, like if you're happen to be particularly thorough when it comes to like exploring, you should be able to have more than enough anytime you reach a snack gate.
Alrighty.
Alright, so now we're inside the greenhouse, which has a very bad infestation problem at the moment.
Yeah, look at all these rats.
Rats.
Also, they're growing organic or naturally grown Scooby snacks.
Ooh.
Okay, so what I was trying to say before was the reason why I asked about dogs is because every time I look at Scooby, I think of my sister's dog, Theodora Nubis.
Is
He actually has
your
a whole
dog
name.
also a Great Dane?
What'd you say?
Is he
your
also a
sister's
Great
dog
Dane?
also a
No,
Great Dane?
he's actually a German Shepherd Vizsla.
I'm just amused that Teddy has a full name like that.
That is his full name, yes.
Oh, he's up
Oh
behind me.
my! Yeah. That is
Oh, my
probably the
mistake.
one thing regarding the enemies is that once they notice you, they actually they do act pretty fast.
There you go. And we can continue. So, James, have you beaten Night of 100 Frights or any of the Scooby games?
Not really. No, I got about as far in this as I want to say one of the the later mansion levels where I did end up meeting up with the infamous creeper. But other than that, I didn't get much further than that, and not going to pin the blame on him all that much, considering it was kind of just a spur-of-the-moment thing. He did technically save over my save file.
sorry.
Nuts.
No worries. I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it, considering we're doing this now.
I know,
You know what, that
we'll
reminds
experience
me
it
of,
together.
That's something I'll say, like you say that about saving over... That reminds me of something years ago, back when I first had this game on the GameCube. Me getting it on the PS2 was more of a recent purchase. I actually,
okay.
back when I owned this game on the GameCube when I was a much youngin', I actually gotten pretty far into it. I was actually a few Scooby Snacks away from 100%ing it. Then one of my younger cousins, I think it was either Marissa or Brandy, she came over and she wanted to play on my GameCube, and I said, oh, you can play Scooby if you want. She, bless her heart, without knowing, ended up saving over my save file.
Oh, that's the most common of save file losses is when it's from a younger relative who doesn't
Yeah.
know any better.
I genuinely was in a position... I think I already talked about this, but I was genuinely in a position where in Kingdom Hearts 1, I had made it just past Ursula, and and a friend of mine was hanging out at the house, and they were going to save in their own... we're good. They were going to save their file when they were still in Traverse Town, but then the aforementioned dog of mine jumped in her lap at that exact moment and made her jump and accidentally go down one extra save slot and select mine.
Oops.
And there's no confirm. Are you sure? It's just, here you go.
I mean, I guess from your experience, what would you say is a worse fate? Whenever something like that happens, or if you lose your data from being forced to format?
Oh boy.
I would say emotionally processing it wise, it's worse when that first thing happens. Especially because, like, okay, because fun fact, something like that happened to me with La Milana.
Oh, I would say, I know you're not going to pay too much mind to the Scooby Snacks. I would also say don't get too needlessly absent-minded about them, because again, you might need to collect it more than you might think.
Well, I know. Well, I'm not gonna bother with those, like, up in the trees, because you technically need to power up to go up there anyway.
Okay, that's fair. I honestly forgot that those were up there.
Yeah.
But yes, what was I gonna say?
Yeah, and that's a bit of a spoiler. This little magnifying glass spoils one of them that you get later on. You see that box of soap up there?
Yes.
That's going to be a power-up that you get later, but obviously we're not going to be making much use out of it now, so...
Just thread that needle between these bushes.
You know, this camera angle would make for a fairly nice, if not brief, chase sequence if it weren't for the fact that the werewolves of this whole grasslands are, dumb as rocks.
They're very slow. Like,
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm surprised. I'm surprised that we got a Donald Duck chase game thingy before we ever got one.
Speaking of chase sequences,
I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't
that were
last
also
long, though.
short-lived.
they
Also,
They gave up.
I love the little motion that they make when they look confused. It's like they're genuinely curious. Like you ever like that guy right there.
I have a taste for fine, smooth jazz.
Scooby snacks.
I just say.
There's one right there, and it's moving.
I just say, Mr. Zombie. I don't quite agree with the new academic study that's been lobbied by our potential youth. I don't know. It's moving on before we think too hard about the sentence I just blabbed out. So did you play any of the other Scooby-Doo games, James? Like
Mystery Mayhem and Unmasked?
Yes.
I briefly played a demo of Unmasked on a PS2 PlayStation Magazine demo disc. And looking back on it in recent years, I kind of forgot how much of an unabolished Crash clone it is. Even more so than this, I'd argue.
Mystery Mayhem did that, but I also remember Mystery Mayhem being a big unabashed clone of
Luigi's Mansion.
Yes, with the book.
I mean, it was right around the same time, so that's fair.
Up there on that imitation Spiral Mountain is going to be our next power up.
I was about to say Spiral Mountain has definitely seen better days.
I'm going to shortcut real quick because there's another warp gate which we'll be needing for at a later point.
Also, be sure not to miss that box of Scooby snacks right there.
Oh,
thank you.
Especially the boxes, like those are precious.
And otherwise, like with that witch, we have zero way of fighting anything in this game unless it's like a small enough like that, or is there
you see that, Logan? Absolutely. Stay tuned. We're actually about to get our first major offensive against them.
Oh, thank goodness.
So let me see if I can sport this out because you technically need the bubble power up to technically get up here, but if you can bounce off an enemy well enough...
Oh, nice.
4 well-earned Scooby snacks for that. Now run.
And a few more on top of that.
And there you go.
Ooh, Robo Pebbles.
But yeah, what was I going to say? We mentioned the...
Style Cocoa Pebbles.
It's, oh, jeez. I am... oh, that's right. I was going to bring up now that we're at, I guess, at this point in this... the music for this game, like, is this all archived clips from the show, or do they try to compose it in a very similar style to it?
These are new compositions, but they do incorporate certain motifs from the franchise.
Okay.
Right, like the more commonly known, like, well, I just call it the Scooby-Doo movies theme tune, which, yeah, pretty much.
Well, no, he means stuff like, you know, like do 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 do
for you.
Yeah, no.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you?
I know.
Over here!
Yeah, I hear that. I can
We're
hear
nerds.
that. Did we ever get a game based on What's New Scooby-Doo?
Nope. I would argue the closest we get to that is maybe with some of the later games, because they do use aside from Scooby and Shaggy, they do use some of the actors from What's New in that. And now we got the helmet, which is basically going to be our primary means of, like, attacking enemies, because we can headbutt them with the helmet.
Ah.
More or less kills all but a few monsters in one fell bonk.
I see.
And with that, it's weird. It's at this point, you really don't need the freaking slippers and lampshade hat anymore.
No,
Yeah.
just
Unless you want to
break
just be
anything.
random.
Just it definitely seems to me like maybe the lampshade and the slippers would have made more sense had the pacing in this game been longer. Like before you actually get like at that point turn the helmet into like an end game. Scooby's finally feeling courageous enough to break this cobweb.
Yeah.
Why did that work?
Well, the cobweb, we need that because that gets us a shortcut back to the beginning of the Hedge maze area. But I am going to go a little, before we exit, because that's going to take us back to the mansion, I am going to go a little further into the area so I can get a monster token over here.
Alright, on that note, it's actually right there. I was about to say we should probably go ahead and jump cut, but the token's right there, right within our grasp.
Yep.
Hooray!
And while
But
you do
also,
that,
okay.
I'm gonna go use the bathroom.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Otherwise, I also see how this works, where it's maybe not a Gruntilda Castle thing, but I know there's a way to describe this.
Actually, hi. I was about to say,
What's
if
up?
you want to make this faster, just drop down the bed.
Good idea. Whoop.
Sometimes that is honestly the best way to save on time and frustration, especially when you're so close to like the exit.
I mean, when you
And don't worry, like, whenever you die, like, and that's another thing that I do like about this game that shows how generous it is. Whenever you collect an item, it stays collected. Like, for example, any Scooby snacks that I might have collected, I still get to keep them after I die, and the same goes for the monster tokens.
And yeah, wow, it's very generous, and the death warping is absolutely a tactic. But I was going to say, I know there's a way to describe this. All I'm thinking of is freaking either the Ocean Temple from Phantom Hourglass or Gruntilda's Castle, but I see how this works. We're effectively, our main goal is to get through this mansion and get to the end where the mastermind or whatever probably is. But in order to really get far enough, we are going to have to take several detours away from this place in order to get the goodies necessary to continue through the mansion.
Speaking of detours, we're about to take one for another monster token.
Hey! Can you do it?
Assuming the bats will give you any leeway.
Oh, can you do it?
I know I can do this.
Aha!
Nice.
I'll get those on the chandelier, don't worry. I'm just gonna get the monster token first.
Yep.
And the Scooby Snacks on the chandelier would also be nice.
Oh,
well, that's why I said I'm gonna get the token first.
It's the head man.
The
headless spectre.
Headless spectre, that's it.
Hey, Aladdin.
Oops.
Whoops.
Don't mind that. That is something that I've noticed that you might something that you might notice here and there is that like sometimes like it's very easy for some of the platforms to gimp some of the platforming.
Antique flooring fails us yet again.
I don't know why I found it was silly. Just the fact of like Scooby-Doo was on the top of an armchair, a foot and a half off the ground, and he's just looking down like it's terrifying. It's too far. Can we make this jump from this balcony?
We should be able to. I mean, we do have a double jump.
Oh.
Alright, and this place is more or less cleared, so let's head on forward. And actually, with that helmet on hand, we can actually do something about that bookshelf we had passed by earlier.
Oh, that's right, yeah, because there was a loose book.
Which, I'm not sure why we couldn't just do this with our regular head bash, but the helmet more or less pushes the book straight in.
I would play a Scooby-Doo game in a Spyro engine.
That would be amusing.
Just with that charge, I don't know.
I mean, would you settle with a Scooby-Doo that plays like a Crash Bandicoot?